Good evening. Tonight's episode is brought to you by the CDC. CDC, who has decided that they just can't help you anymore. The CDC, who for the last 2 years has tried to save your life, even though you have probably been dedicated to throwing it away in the resort of my freedom. The CDC, who only ask you to put on a mask, get vaccinated, and stay inside. This year, 2022, the CDC wants to remind you, you know what? Do you, boo boo?
Indeed.
Man, when I saw that video of old boy with the square light, y'all just gonna do what you want to do, no way. I cannot with the foolishness. Hello, Sharpies! Welcome to Steel Sharp and Steel. We used our official open. I had to. It looks so beautiful, don't you agree? We look all professional, like we on a real TV show, don't we?
Real.
And in real life, we us.
Yes.
I'm doing this. I'm doing a Sharon right now. So, welcome, and welcome to Steel Sharp and Steel. We are here for our first show for 2022. Look at that. We are here
Happy
for
New
our
Year.
first show. Happy Noop Year.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
It starts.
So, yeah, let's just get some of that out of the way because you knew it was coming. I don't know why you thought it would not have been coming because it was definitely going to come. It was for sure. I mean, for sure. With these two brothers on the show, this was coming.
Yo.
We just celebrated 111 years. And in just a little bit in this month, our two co-hosts are going to be celebrating their Deltaversary and their Delta Founders Day because January is the birthday month of like 60% of the D9. It's just everybody was getting busy in January.
Indeed.
I remember that little picture used to go around with what's the comedian in drag saying, we're gonna just go ahead and celebrate all the January birthdays.
That's right, the birthday babies, like you were in church. All the January babies, stand up. Stand up, January babies. It was very appropriate that you led off with that CDC sponsorship announcement, Joy. Thank you so much. Because, y'all, we still in this pandemonium right now. Omarion's still trying to add you to his entourage.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that?
But he came out, he was real.
That was called clout chasing. That was called clout chasing.
No, but they were chasing him, though. They were trying to clout chase him too.
That's what Black Twitter do for you.
It do. Black Twitter do be doing it. Listen,
I am not a variant.
Right, I'm an artist.
This is why you are a super fan of the show, Anthony.
That's right, Anthony. Clearly.
Oh, so you're
the
SSS baby.
That's what I'm saying. He got it both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, look at you, Anthony.
But listen,
Anthony.
it's not.
Anthony.
He's in the comments still.
I see.
I say it's the Omarosa berry. You know what?
See, and CJ says J15 is coming.
Okay, yes, it's very true. We're gonna celebrate that day too. That was an honest call. That was not shade.
We are next Friday on the 14th, so we get to do what the Nupes is doing today. Yeah.
That's right.
And we get to tell our other sisters happy early anniversary.
That's right.
Anniversary, yeah.
It is not the Omicron variant that we really need to be worrying about. Let's keep it real. We are on the road to COVID turning into like the sister to the flu. We're gonna enter the endemic phase where we're just okay, CJ. Well, dag. Not the birth of it all. Oh Lord Jesus. Okay,
we appreciate the support. We appreciate your support.
That's right.
And love for you, CJ.
Whole lot of love. But the trick is if Omicron right now has such high transmissibility but low lethality that it's tearing through the whole country. And so there's a a chance that, by accident, we may get closer to something like herd immunity just because so many people are getting it. But the trick is you got to watch out for pi or rho. Because if pi comes around and pi has the transmissibility of Omicron, but the lethality of Delta, now
Lord
you've got a problem.
That's a
Lord
because
habits.
that's a
Lord
problem.
have its mercy.
And if we can get through pi and rho, it's not going to be a problem with sigma because sigma's just going to induct the virus as a brother anyway. It's gonna be go mad.
Tom's comments are Tom's alone.
Go make another virus.
Lord have it mercy.
The views expressed by members of this group do not express the views of the entire Still Sharp and Still.
It's
group.
jokes.
Look, now, wait a minute, Joy. We took a lot of shit from the Delta variant, so I don't know. Have at it, Tom.
All I'm saying is,
look the other way, but we took a lot of shit, and we took it, with a smile on our face.
Yeah. See, but see. Zenzi, wait, I'm sorry, Mark. I knew it was going to be Mark Stepney who was going to step into this with that.
Ghost in the corner.
But Zenzi gets it. Zenzi, stop taking Zenzi's comment off. There you go. There, like that. Leave Zenzi on there. Zenzi know what's up. What was you?
I ain't defending no one because Joy, I ain't had nobody defend us. Nobody.
Well, but the Zeta variant, we've already passed over Zeta.
We didn't even do what Omarion did.
Well, the story wasn't going to come out. Do nothing like that. That was a decision by committee. We're never going to agree with that.
Okay, let's get into the show. We are trying to, in 2022, one of the things that we're trying to do is actually have a show that could potentially be broadcast within a broadcast hour. So we are not going to spend 45 minutes on each topic. We got some topics to go through, and so we are going to get through the topics. And one of the topics that we are ready to talk about is my favorite topic of the day. Life. Ooh-wee! Yeah.
Tom.
What, you want all of them on there?
Feedback off of Tom's mic. Y'all let us know in the chat if Tom's mic is exploding in your ear.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I can do that while you're talking.
CJ has spoken.
How is that better?
When you're not screaming.
Well, when I'm not screaming, yeah. It's just when I'm singing.
You started, yeah. You started.
Honey, your stuff was doing what you like to talk about me about.
Late in life, JoJo and KC, and they be all in the mic. Ooh, yeah.
After they took a hit.
Life. Do it again, boy.
Life.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, all three of them got life, and the McMichael twins got life plus 20 years. So even after you die, they got your bones in a cell.
Just post it up.
In jail for another 20 years.
Yeah,
no possibility of parole. Not only did they give you life with no parole, they gave you life plus 20 with no possibility of parole.
Yeah, man.
But I'm sorry. Outside of all the dramatics that Tom is doing, that was one hell of a judge.
It sure was.
Damn. I mean, he just sat there and you just looked at him like, I mean, he was all he put LBJ to shame. He was just so clear. Especially when he read the transcript. I was like, damn, dude. Let me summarize this book I'm about to throw at your ass.
Right.
I was like, damn. But the plus 20, that was just nasty. Thank you. Joy, thank you for the theatrics. I needed that. Because he was just so tranquil. And I know every attorney, other judge, that was like court for real. He was holding court on how it's supposed to be done.
Yes, how it's supposed to be done. Exactly.
Good judge, man. And
can you imagine? Roddy was sitting there like, but I took the video. Like, it wouldn't have been no case without.
But even how he broke it down, because he came with tons of compassion for him, but he did not want us to neglect the fact that well, you kind of are the person that entrapped the man.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he did everything but call him an idiot with compassion. I mean, he was
I'm
like, look,
sorry you're
bruh,
so stupid that
the
you
law is
sent
the
your
law.
son to jail. Yeah.
We throw the life at black people too often. So you're gonna get life. And only because we know that you showed a level of contrition. I felt like I was watching Klansmen without the hood, looking at the father-son duo.
What makes you think you weren't?
Mm.
Well, again, you know. And so I was just like, wow. And when and the judge put the nail in the coffin. I mean, literally
Oh
and
yeah.
figuratively. When
Yeah.
he broke down their lack of remorse, and the woman lawyer, she's definitely a Klansman with her hood on that she took off just
Mm.
for the trial
Yeah.
because
Toenails.
she was just contorting, and I was like,
Yeah.
and then the
Some
father was like, "Look, I got life plus 20. Why are you even trying to act?"
Right.
You had to look at the body language. I kept pausing it, rewinding it, pausing and rewinding.
And that last minute plea deal, you kick rocks with that.
But the mother did not come to play.
Mm-hmm.
no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nope.
She was like, "We can all show you no compassion, but
Yeah, if I'd have been Brian's lawyer, I'd have been like, look,
I know that's right.
I'd have tried to turn on them on day 4. Like the minute I realized, oh, this ain't going well, I'd have severed. I'd have wanted a separate trial and everything. I'd have turned over all kind of history. I'd have ratted them out so hard. I'd have been talking about the time he cut off a puppy's tail in the 8th grade. I'd have been talking about that time he beat up his girlfriend back in 1994. Anything I knew on them to get myself out of a life sentence. I'd have turned any other video, anything else. I'd have talked about what phone he used to dial 911 and what he said after he hung up. I'd have had everything, anything I had, I'd have turned over on them. I don't know why he stayed with them.
But he should have done that the day he turned over the video.
Well, he still thought the video was going to help prove that they were right. Because remember, you got to understand cognitive dissonance. He really thought, see, this is going to show that we were right. That's why he turned it over.
That works for the time before charges got filed. I understand him thinking that when Jackie said you're good.
Yeah.
I get him sticking like that. But once them charges hit, and once he started to say, oh, but abba dabba dabba, he said the N-word, I'm willing to tell you da 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 da. That's the point where he would have said, I'm sorry, y'all. I got to go. Because what remains to be seen, since he does have the possibility of parole, what remains to be seen, frankly, is it 20 years before he's considering, or what? Chuck, you can tell us what is the standard?
I think the 30 is mandatory.
No, up in Georgia, that was mandatory. They were looking at life. The only discretion the judge had was whether with parole or without. So they were.
So I'm saying for parole, how long does he have to serve
Minimum
before he can
30.
consider of alive? It
30.
is 30.
And
he ain't gonna make that no way.
And that's what made it funny to me. And when I say funny, there's no humor in any of this. It's a serious matter. Yes, justice was served today, but the Arbery family will never be able to see their son and loved one again. So it's, for them, it's a Pyrrhic victory at best. But again, at the end of the day, what was funny to me was sitting there because I know that somewhere in Roddy Bryan's mind, once he heard life with parole, he probably did math in his head and was like, okay, well, I can get out. I'm going to be able to get out. And then he realized that 30 years means he's 82 years old. And so the likelihood that he makes it to 82 is
in jail.
Yeah, in jail, it's probably slim to none. But again, I think that judge, like each of you has said, sent an excellent message that if listened to by other would-be racist vigilantes, will be the most prominent aspect that comes from this trial, is that if you are caught and if a jury finds you guilty, you will do time. You just can't go take the law into your hands and go and kill Black people off of a whim. So I was very pleased today. As I get ready to rest here within the next hour and a half, I will go to bed satisfied that justice was meted out.
But let's not be what's the word I want to call this? Idealistic. Okay? Because I'm gonna drop a bomb right here. Those attorneys from that community have done that performance before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let walk with me. They've done that performance before, and they've gotten their people off. Okay, that nastiness, that meanness, that denigrating Black life was not a dry run. That was a repeat performance. And on top of that, Judge, the MVP is the Black Lives Matter movement. Because we got Kim Porter and the Three Stooges that were held accountable for the Black lives of a 20-year-old Black man and a 25-year-old Black man. That we can go down the list of police officers and vigilantes like the George Zimmerman that somebody dropped in the chat who have gotten off completely for demonstrations that we just experienced. So we have to realize, I don't want us to act like, oh, this is what accountability looks like after we tore some shit up.
Right.
And after we were clear at a peak level that enough is enough. And that's why January 6th came around and these fools thought, well, the Black people did it, so we gonna do it. And they steady getting away with it, but not really. And we have to really look at that period of time of 2020 to the type of outcomes that we're experiencing that is not normal for us.
Amen.
It's the kind of equal justice under the law we have been fighting for. Because at the same time, we can juxtapose Emmett Till and the stories of movements all the way to Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, and all the other Black bodies that were disposable with no justice served.
Amen.
Get in on it, Joy.
I was actually going to say it wasn't lost on me that this movie about Emmett Till's mother, the in that entire crusade came out around the same time that this. Thank you. That this verdict is coming down and how very different it is. Because again, you had a young man's life that was lost because the white people just decided they didn't like him being alive. You know, and how not only were they not convicted, they were boastful about, you know, not being interviewed even about what they had done, because double jeopardy didn't apply after that, what they had done, and then they didn't give a damn and whatever. And any N-word on what he's gonna be a dead N-word, all this other kind of stuff. And now here we are, only a generation later. And you had three yokels who thought that they were gonna have the same privilege, and they didn't. But they might have, if not for the recency of George Floyd's very public death and the idiocy of one of them to film it. We would never have heard about Arbery on a national scale. And if it hadn't gone national, if it had just been local, and I don't think it would have gone as viral as it did without the brutality and the immediacy, the closeness of George Floyd's murder, you know, because we had got into a cycle of something terrible happening and then going back underground and then something else terrible happening. But we had so much so quickly that this video surfacing was like, God damn, not again. We're not doing this again. And it became more than they could sweep under the rug. And at some point, even the fake allies and the fake friends, all that little, you know, the intermediates in the spectrum of white supremacy were like, we can't rock with y'all this time. We're gonna have to do something. Well, let's just take it to trial and see what happens. And the tsunami comes through and you get a judgment that was only what we ever wanted, which was fairness.
Fairness.
You know, so, which is what Sharon was saying, is this is what you all have said. This is what was supposed to happen in the first place, is a fair judging by a jury of their peers, right? Yeah. And so take your ass to jail like you should have been, because all you ever had to do was mind your business, which is all we all ever wanted y'all to do. You know, racist white people out there, is mind your business. You know, you'd have the rest of your life to just sit on your porch and spit tobacco, whatever it is you wanted to do. But now you forfeited your life because you can't mind your business.
Yeah.
Do not pass go, but do collect your plus 20 years on top of your life. You are going
Go
to
directly to
jail.
jail.
Go directly to jail. Chuck, what do you think about our Sharpie's comment that part of this sentencing hearing was to set up the bases for an appeal?
Oh, absolutely. The defense lawyers went in today knowing what was coming because of the mandatory life provision. And again, the only leeway that the judge had was with parole, without parole. And so essentially, what you have is, because sometimes people will ask, well, why didn't they get up and speak? Why didn't they like try to plead for mercy, leniency? Because once you're at that stage, there's really nothing that you can do. The
Mm-hmm.
defense attorneys have already begun, they probably already have the full transcripts from the trial, and they're combing through those thousands of pages of transcripts, trying to see what evidentiary decisions were made by the court, be it on motions, be it on evidence that was presented at trial, to determine whether there's significant bases to attack the judgment and ultimately the sentences and what have you. So that's why you probably saw them standing mute today. You know, a lot of people probably wanted to see either the Michaels or the or Roddy Bryan beg, plead, get on their knees and things of that. But there is always that possibility when you're on the defense side that this might come back for
Mm-hmm.
one reason or another that we might not know, because all of us were not 24/7 in the courtroom watching every ruling and all of that. So stay tuned on that. But again, it was today was a day. And you know what? Like Joy, Sharon, Tom, like you all are saying, I think what bothers me too is that, you know, for those of us who've been in those courtrooms and had to deal with these types of cases, is again, like y'all said, that's all that Black people have ever wanted. We've never wanted special this or any of that. We just wanted to be treated the same. And I saw a comment from one of the Sharpies up in the thread to the effect of these three men got what Black men get routinely in courts
Mm-hmm.
across America. And that is the God honest truth. I mean, from 16, 17 years old on up to 50, 60 years old, you commit murder and you look like us, you're going to get life, or you're going to get 32 life, or there's going to be some significant term of years. You're going to get whacked. And, you know, it's frustrating that we, as a group of intelligent people sitting here discussing these issues tonight, realize that in our own lifetimes, not taking back to our parents who grew up when Emmett Till was being chased and beaten and killed, and everybody else. No, in our lifetimes, we have seen too many instances where there's disparate justice, where
Mm-hmm.
it's not meted out in a fair and equal way. And so, again, I'll sleep well tonight because this is one instance where it worked like it should work. But again, tomorrow we have to get up and have short memories because there are other cases that deserve our attention. And I know that Still Sharp and Still, our whole team will always be here to raise these issues and raise awareness about justice in America.
You know, before we move on to some other things, there was another, again, a horrible tragedy in Fayetteville where a Black motorcyclist was shot by the father of a person who was driving a pickup. And there was some sort of altercation. We don't know what happened. The filming started after the beginning of the altercation. But what ended up happening is the son got out of the car to confront this Black man who was on a motorcycle, and the father picked up a shotgun and killed the brother.
Mm.
And so it didn't take a long time. They went right to his house and they booked him on charges of first degree murder. They're holding him without bail. And people are already saying there's the possibility of examining it as a hate crime. It was basically a road rage incident. They had no relationship prior. And this father just thought that he could just shoot this Black man. But it was on tape and now he has been taken away. And I trust that given what they have now, that since he has no justification or anything like that, it's not even going to take as long as it took for these people, especially when you consider how this case was disposed of. And kudos to the jurors, kudos to the prosecution, kudos to the judge in his administration of actual justice. It was, for the moment, a time when we as Black people can appreciate that sometimes we do get things right, even in this country. That said, we have to segue from a life too briefly lived to a celebration of the life of one of the greatest treasures that we have as Americans, and that is Sidney Poitier.
Amen.
First black man to win an Academy Award, Lilies in the Field. So many different iconic performances. From In the Heat of the Night to its sequel, They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, to Sir with Love. All those movies he did with Bill Cosby and some of the other iconic performers of the 70s. What he has done as a Kennedy awardee, what he has done as a person who is represented in an ambassadorial role, building bridges across cultures, and just being like the epitome of dignity, and honor, and integrity, just throughout his entire career. And we had quite a bit of a discussion when Cicely Tyson passed, and he is certainly in the pantheon of actors, both not even withstanding his blackness, his unapologetic blackness, but just culturally so significant. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Which, I mean, literally electrified American audiences with the content and just the nobility with which he ennobled all of his performances. Even in Sneakers, which is one of my favorite movies, just because it's later Robert Redford and a River Phoenix, and just all of the people who helped to make everything that he did special. We salute you, Mr. Poitier, for all that you have done for the culture. What about you, Sharon? Island gal. What you got to say about
Tom?
Well,
I think you summed it up beautifully.
Well, sometimes I don't have to be loud in order to get the point across, and I wanted to be as a fellow actor. I wanted to make sure that he got his props and his flowers. Shall we move on then? Are we just gonna zip through things? Let's zip. Let's zip. Okay, Joy is back. Joy, where should we go? We have do we want to do something political? Why don't we get into January 6th? So we did J5. Why don't we get into J6? How about that?
Yes, let's get into J6 and what's going on with the saltine sad sacks, the Crack Foundation, whatever you may want to call them.
You said the saltine,
the revolting Ritz, however you want to look at it.
I appreciated that one.
Did you say
she said the revolting rich, and I'm going to say the sundown townhouse.
Yes, sundown townhouse. Yes,
I can dig it.
Rich, saltine sad sack. Yes, all of these.
So our president Joe Biden on January 6th.
Wait.
Oh, wait. Okay, go ahead.
For the fundamentalist Christians, the Jesus cheeses. Okay, now I'm done.
Oh, there you go. Y'all remember those? I don't know if this was the case in your house. Around the holidays times, we used to get those big, round, flavorless crackers that were like basically just for cheese. Like they didn't really have any flavor themselves. They kind of like just big round matzahs or the Catholic wafers.
Yeah, I was about to say you were Catholic.
Yeah, I'm Catholic. And we had those. The only time those crackers came out was at holiday time, because you didn't want to eat them crackers even then, but like they had a version with poppy seed, and now you can get like sea salt on those little thin flavorless crackers. I mean, they're good for cheese.
Yes, they go great with like fancy cheese.
Anything, artisanal cheeses, charcuterie plates. Okay, so speaking of celebrations, Joe Biden came out on the anniversary of the most violent insurrection in the United States perpetuated by so-called American citizens. They were traitors and they were domestic terrorists. And Biden made a speech. I think it's arguable that it was his best speech, certainly his best speech since the inauguration, because it's been a whole lot of sad, kind of mournful pleas. Water crackers, yes.
That would be Florida.
So he gave a very impassioned speech, and of course, uh, Lil Lindsay, had to come out saying that he was politicizing January 6th. First of all, ma'am, I mean,
Listen,
sir,
It was an attack on the Capitol. The
it was an
coup of the
attack on the
United States.
Capitol by people who were trying to keep a political loser in office. Ain't no way to be around the politics of it. It was
true.
all political. The entire insurrection was political. It's not like it was about COVID vaccines. It's not like it was about the gold standard. It's not like it was about slavery. It was about politics. And you had politicians in your party, you clown, who were sitting there trying to justify it. So, of course, it was a political speech. It was unfortunate that it had to be made, but talk to your boy. Talk to your boy who canceled his press conference because he found out he wasn't going to get no coverage.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Bees like that sometimes.
It do bees like that. Sharon, as our Politico in Florida and personal friend of Biden, how did you feel the tone of the speech matched the seriousness of the occasion?
Disclaimer on your introduction. I'm not just political Florida, but we'll continue. The
Girl, in
thank you.
Florida. In
Oh,
Florida.
located in
Yes.
Florida. Yes.
Located in Florida.
I we were having some stressors last week, and people really felt, and the murmurs were like, "Is he senile now? Is he,
Mm.
you know, is the slit real?"
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, somebody got the memo because his speechwriting team went straight John Wayne for him. All them one line slaps,
Right.
keep it tight for Joe. Don't give him no. I mean, he wanted to, and the constant. You had to see. CNN had a little too much fun replaying segments, so they wanted to drive home the point that he never said Trump's name.
Mm-hmm.
So when Trump came out to respond like the juvenile that he is, Colbert last night also, who I never watched, I just loved that he said, let me replay Trump's speech with the appropriate surrogate. So I'm not going to do it, but we hired a 7-year-old to do it. And when I say I choked, right? I choked. And he put the speech on the screen and had the 7-year-old voice reciting. It was priceless,
Wow.
right? But then CNN juxtaposed, actually, it might have been all Colbert. Colbert replayed every segment of the speech where he said, former president, former president, former president. And then he made it like a whole meme out of it. And then at the end, it was like the kapow. Because he just went in, and they brought on people who were booked on shows 1 year ago for on Insurrection Day before the insurrection was happening to have them have their show on the anniversary. So I mean, the tomfoolery, the Trump foolery, excuse me, the Trump foolery was in overdrive with the overture to Joe Biden because he gave us something to give him props for, right? And then it's all that should have been said all year long, quite frankly. It was too much evading, but it was so clear that they just had to do damage control. And I don't know where this comparison to Pearl Harbor and 9/11 came from. They're trying to hang that around poor Vice President Harris's neck. But the replay of all the injustices, including your boy Care going in on Teddy Cruz all day today, which I love seeing the punches that's going on right now that has people staggering.
But why, Sharon, you popped that in there and I had the graphic ready because I knew you were going to hit it. Why did Carlson get in Ted Cruz's behind? Can you share with us why?
He's going to run. I mean,
But that wasn't it. That wasn't it. The reason.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Joy. Take it. Do you know why Toucaire did that?
He actually referred to, and it was in the comments already. He actually referred to January 6th attack as a terrorist.
As terrorist
attack. That is not in the script for the Republican Party. You didn't like that gift. You know you done effed up, right? You know,
right?
That's
dead president.
But the reason they said that was because he's thinking about running for president.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's not like he just said it yesterday. Right. So the fact that it's been sitting in footage for 365 days, right? And so many of them, the way Toucaire went at him was no coincidence.
Oh no, because Toucaire doesn't care. All Toucaire cares about is ratings. He wants his paycheck. And look, when they first tried to come out, the most
interesting person to go for. He could have went after Democrats. That was a strategic plan.
Oh no, he went after Ted. A, because he doesn't like Ted. B, because he's trying to keep the path. Not that I think Ted was a credible candidate. I don't.
He made a point to say he's the one that came in second to Donald Trump.
Yeah, and he will keep coming in second because Trump is still the presumptive and far and away the most popular choice to lead the Republican ticket in 2024 for unfathomable reasons. An unindicted Trump. I think DeSatan probably has a better chance than Cruz just because Cruz is forever a beta to Trump.
Yes.
Forever. And that's what they don't want.
Not just to Trump, a beta to everything.
But I'm saying when you fall, it'd be one thing if Rubio tried to say something, but it was Trump that said something. And not only did you not fight back, you let him cow you. So it's a wrap.
I'm sorry. I love this. We need to put up with David Hogan. Just put up.
Where David?
I love that. I love that. Oh, Lord Jesus. Sorry. Second place is the first loser. Damn.
It's the first loser, Ted.
It goes deeper than that. I'm going to tell you, there's a moment. If you watch The Walking Dead from a few seasons ago, when Negan first starts to come on the scene, y'all know Negan's the guy with the bat and the seal, and he is in the process of punking Rick Grimes. And in so doing, he threatens the entire village, the entire new little place they live in with the houses and whatnot. And he makes Rick get on his knees and apologize and everything for their presumed offense to Negan's camp and whatever. And Rick has to do it because if he doesn't, they're going to chop off his son's arm or whatever. There's all these dire consequences if Rick doesn't do it. And so Rick does it and everybody understands that it is to save the community. But as Negan is leaving, he leans down next to Rick and he just says, basically, I just stuck my blank in your mouth and you thank me for it.
What show is this?
That was The Walking Dead. But I actually read the comic books. Right. I read the comic books. And when I tell you, if you all don't remember when Negan, who used to be on Supernatural and before that he was on Grey's Anatomy, and before that, and then he was on The Good Wife as the love interest of The Good Wife. When I tell you they took Lucille and when he bashed in old boy's head, it was almost exactly like the frame from the comic book. It was like literally when them eyes bugged out from the pressure of his skull being crushed. That was exactly it. Broken.
Ted Cruz is broken. Ted ain't gonna never be able to have a moment like Rick and kill a bunch of people and get his manhood back. Ted is unelectable. Because Ted, I hate to use this word because
as a president, Sharon, we're not saying he can't do stuff in Texas.
No, but I'm annoyed by the fact that he was elected by any human.
Well,
I want to talk to the people of Texas. What's up?
Look, man,
why? Is this all y'all character? I mean, I understand how Donald Trump got elected. I absolutely understand. But Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
You got to understand Texas. So
I don't, clearly.
I'm trying to explain it to you. So you understand Florida, right?
No.
Okay, so take
individuals too. Go ahead.
Listen, take that incomprehension of Florida and add to it the irrational belief that you can always do what you want because you're not really a member of the union. You can walk whenever you want to. Texans are taught this in the 8th grade as a part of Texas history, that we reserve the right to split ourselves into 5 states at any given time, and then we can leave the union whenever we freaking want to. They indoctrinate this into us at an early age, and we live with this belief that we are different. We are a different country. We play with y'all because we want to. That's why we're not on the electricity grid, because we really believe that we ain't with y'all. We are our own thing. And so add to that the additional belief that we are anointed from on high to know what's right for ourselves. We are more independent even than the crazy United States. And then add guns and ridiculous religiosity into it. We make the Bible Belt look like an ornament. Okay, so it's ridiculous. It is the, what do you want to say? The intersection, and I almost want to say fault line of all the crazy. It's just hidden better because we don't have the kind of media coverage that Florida sometimes get, because Florida man became a thing, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's more crazy.
But when when the both brothers were governor, right? Like our governor put the Texas governor in the White House. So I know we're not very different, right? But that's why I couldn't let you get away with saying you understand Florida. No, I'm still confused. I've been confused.
Sharon, let me finish what I'm trying to tell you. I thought that I recounted this story here, but I'll tell it to you again. So when I was in Austin in October, now this was during the, Austin City Limits, which is a huge concert time. Everybody's running around having fun, doing young college kid stuff. And in the middle of this is right after that abortion bill nonsense started, and it was when they passed it in Texas, there was a celebration dinner. And I happened to be in the hotel after my business was done and waiting on my friends to meet me at the bar. And I see this celebration dinner. So I'm like the little mezzanine area, so I can see people walking around and coming down the escalator. And all of a sudden, this massive amount of like white clothing catches my eye out of my peripheral. And it is a bunch of what at first look like nuns. But as they come down the escalator, I realize they're not nuns. It's women dressed all in white with white habits. And it's not like a burqa or anything like that. It's just a fake all white nun's habit, given real, like, what's the show? Handmaid's Tale vibes. And they're coming down. And then I realized the placard on the side of the celebration dinner says like Texas something, Alliance something. I don't even want to try and pretend to get the name for fear of like a libel suit, but they're celebrating the passing of this law. And there's all these women that are dressed, and it's not a virgin thing because they all look like they're in their 40s, although, hey, never know. Well, but the idea that the germination of the seeds of a potential Handmaid's Tale situation is already happening in October of 2021 in Texas. When I tell you Gilead is on the way, y'all need to, if you're in Texas, get the hell up out. I'm in Atlanta right now. So I went, and when I saw that, my first thought was, what time is my plane? Because it's insane, but it doesn't get a lot of coverage. Y'all didn't see that on the news, and you won't. Real G's move in silence.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my expression as you were describing that. That is just so disturbing to me. As a person who has watched every episode of The Handmaid's Tale and also watched the original film, the series of The Handmaid's Tale is far more frightening, because the movie was done in the 80s and it wasn't particularly good. But The Handmaid's Tale, by expanding it and giving you a peek into every aspect of that oppressive culture, that is the real nightmare scenario, because it was presented so matter-of-factly.
And it's presented in a manner that shows you how you get there. It doesn't just, it starts off dropping you in the middle of a nightmare, but it shows you how otherwise rational people can have their insecurities preyed upon, their desire for power preyed upon, their arrogance even, and their ability to ignore what's coming and what's in front of their face, all abused and manipulated to find themselves in a nightmare they never saw coming, even participating in it. Because it takes people willing to do the torture to have all these people torture sometimes themselves. It's insane, and it's possible. And if you think they could do this to women, don't think they couldn't flip it and do it to Black people or any people of color. All it takes is them being able to track you through their phone, which they can already do, and declare a certain demographic enemies of the state and seize your accounts.
Well, when you broke down those 4 territories that make up Texas, I could see that. Because, I was a political, and Richards was the governor. So it's that change of time. That's when I was really into understanding and learning, right? And I mean it, but I'm being facetious of I don't understand, because it all goes back to the citizen to me, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, what type of human votes for Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
And what type of humans make up a majority to where he wins?
Amen.
And that's my gut pain joy. You know what I mean? I understand how the Bushes got elected. I witnessed Jeb Bush. I could tell you back then, I could totally explain Florida. Mm-hmm. I know when we come up short. I can explain how we lost Virginia, and it has shit to do with the squad, right? It had to do with McCullough failed strategy and going after parents, right? So, and being arrogant about it. So, that those things are explainable, even if people don't want to talk about it. It's explainable from my lens. Jeb Bush, I can explain. George Bush, I couldn't understand. But a George Bush made a Donald Trump. So it makes me look at, I'm going to take y'all all the way back. I understand the arrogance of the 2 murderers that got sentenced today, because those are the type of people that vote for those type of people. Mm-hmm. So my concern is that those people are in masses in this country.
They are.
To the point that they're running whole states. And Donald Trump, who is a straight New Yorker, straight gangster, everything he said was like, let me prey on the most ignorant and vulnerable people.
Right.
Because they'll like my bravado. Right? He mastered what he used to be as a New Englander that rolled with the Clintons and said, who are the softest targets? Who are the people that I've stiffed building my hotels? Who are the people in the South that just see me as a celebrity splash, right? And he wasn't that smart, but the strategists that he brought around him worked with his manipulative inner core. And it created the madness that we're all living under. And we have to change the tide. We talked about this in previous shows, that our elitism, as the leftist movement is, and the idealism of not relating to understanding that those Klans people that got convicted today still exist, right? And up until more recently, the last 24 months, they still felt that they could do anything they want to do because the country has allowed them to do it.
Well, here's
Donald Trump just brought them from under a rock for what they used to just do back in the day with hoods on, but more so in rural America and in the police stations.
Here's the thing that is the critical issue, not even for Democrats per se, but let's just say independents, unideologically aligned Republicans, plus the Democratic Party and unaffiliated progressives. The problem isn't that we're so close in terms of parity of voters. It's that the pool of unvoting people who are unconvinced about engaging and being a part of the process is so big. We only need 10% of the currently unvoting to vote Democratic, to tilt everything. One of our Sharpies noted that Beto only lost by 8,000 votes. Mm-hmm. There were 8,000 votes in Texas that could have pushed Beto over. But the challenge
it was not that close. It was not that close. It was like 50-something thousand.
It was 50,000 people in Texas.
We lost by 34,000 and we were the closest margin. So I know he didn't lose by 8,000.
In the Senate race?
You triggered me.
No, not the Trump thing, the Senate race.
2018 race was a bigger margin than 8,000.
Okay.
Because that was the same race with Stacey and boy in Florida. Yeah.
2018.
Okay. So but even if it's 34, even if it's 50, in Texas, 4 Nations, Texas, a day's drive across Texas, there were 50,000 votes. But our problem is that you still got damn near 40%, 30 something percent of the population that is eligible to vote that just doesn't vote.
And the thing is, with the inundation of ridiculousness across all media, it's only expanding the population that refuses to vote, because we are building ennui, right? We're building this apathy of, why does it even matter? It doesn't even care. They're gonna kill us all anyway, on both sides. Because there are rural people also that are like, it don't even matter. They're gonna do what they want to do anyway, and they become more and more nebulous. Or now we have even people who have voted, turned out in record numbers to vote Democratic to save democracy, seeing the Democrats not really get anything done either. And there's a sense of almost nihilism, like, blow it up because it doesn't matter anyway, which means that this next election, no matter what happens, is still very much up for grabs. We're always going to be pushing at it unless something really, really drastic, like, they overturn Roe v. Wade or something like that happens. And it'll have to be after that happens. You won't really see everybody just wake up like, wait, hold up, what? It's going to take, and then by then it won't even be a vote. It'll be more people running into the streets protesting. It'll be rocks versus tanks kind of war out in the streets, National Guard, etc. Because it won't happen at election time. It'll happen after the fact.
Well, that's why they have. Go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry.
It's okay, sweetheart. One of the other things that Ted Cruz is going to struggle with if he decides to run in 2024 is, as much as we dislike him, and he's creepy in so many ways. We've already recounted. He let the guy call his wife ugly, didn't knock him out. Let the guy say his daddy tried to kill Kennedy, didn't knock him out. I think there are a lot of men across America who are Republicans who just are not going to be comfortable with Ted, because they see him, no matter how hard he tries to put on the boots and get a country twang, they still see him as an East Coast establishment liberal who's Ivy League, who speaks Ivy League-ish. Okay. And again, whether you like him or not, when you sit Ted down, Ted speaks and can analyze things in a way that's polar opposite from Donald Trump. And what I have observed over the last 2 cycles now is that the majority of Republican primary voters ain't interested in intelligence. Okay. They want that dumbed down stupidity. And when they don't have an idiot who's on the microphone, on the stage, titillating all of the idiocy within them, they're not interested in politics, not that tough. And so that's why this Republican Civil War, don't get me wrong, Democrats, we have our own issues. Right. Iron out in 2022 too. It's still sharp and still. We'll be analyzing them every time we get on the air. But the Republican Civil War is a real thing, because there are people like Dick Cheney and his daughter Liz and so many others who recognize that we have let the inmates take over the asylum, so to speak, and they want to try to pull that back, and it's going to be difficult. And Ted Cruz ain't it. Just too intelligent. And I'm not saying intelligent in terms of I agree with him on policy. I don't. Right. But he could sit on this show and we could have a reasonable debate with him on many issues. Might still feel slimy when we get off the show and have to take a shower, but you can have a rational debate with him. If we sat Donald Trump in the seat, in a 5th seat, or if we put DeSantis in the 5th seat, and that's the guy who, like Tom said, that I think is going to get a lot of traction going forward, because even though he has an Ivy League background too, he speaks stupid pretty fluently if you pay attention to him. And so with that in mind, I don't think it'll be Ted Cruz, but I'm looking forward to seeing them implode.
And well, I mean, let's be clear. Even the Beto O'Rourke comparison, they both got 4 million votes, right? Nobody's supposed to get that close on the Democratic side in Texas. So
Texas has been gerrymandered all to hell and back.
Right. So the fact that Beto came within 1.6%, historically, that's a landslide for the Democrats, right? And look at the population and the fact that only 4 million people voted on each side. They had about 8 million votes, very comparable to what we did in Florida. I'm hoping the continuation of this culture tidal wave. And I'm not talking about the squad and the elitism. I'm talking about straight up awakening the dead, right? They just co-opted it's kind of like Eminem, how they talked about Eminem infiltrated hip hop because he spoke to his experience. That is what Donald Trump has awakened to what the Democrats have done with Black folks and poor people and union people. The emergence of an awakened dead, the people that they're now trying to oppress at the poll and want to take us back to our literacy test, I would call them on the same shit for the people that they woke up on their side, right? So these are anti-voters that Ted Cruz has to play to right now. That's why he was licking the boots of Toucaire this week, and Toucaire don't give a damn. There's a faction from Bannon to Toucaire to Hannity. A lot of these cats from the insurrection, that is the epitome of the new voter that they created, was from playing into those. I'm hearing a show, Tom, one of your previous shows in our ear. It is that population that they have to maintain, because those people will go back in the bunker. Right? Those people will go back in the bunker if, I believe, a Ted Cruz evolves in there. It's what happened to Mitt Romney. You know, they were 1 second away from taking it. Obama didn't think he was getting reelected. They worked real hard to maintain that base in 2012, but that element of the Republicans defected because Mitt Romney, in my opinion, was too close to what Ted Cruz represents today.
Yeah.
Great point. Great point. And there was a lot of mad Jesus Cheez-Its, as Andrea Joy said back in 2012. That I put up, man, when I woke up the next morning, I kid you not, there were about 5 or 6. There was a time on my Facebook page, folks, where I had far more Republicans on the page. It was some good back and forth. Wasn't a whole lot of anger and I'll kill you and F you and F your mama. It wasn't all of that about a decade ago until that 2012 election came, because they just knew that Mitt Romney was about to beat Barack Obama. And when that did not happen, I woke up the next day with about 5 or 6 friends less. You know how you look on there and you see how many friends they have. I was like, well, damn, they mad at us, you know. So anyway,
all of them was just like what was it? Boys in the Hood.
Right. Just fighting the air, you know. So
come on, Cuba.
But Joy, before we close politics, Joy, I want to lift up your beautiful state of Georgia. And I really want all of us, Sharpies, the 4 of us, call your mama them, your cousin them, your friend them, and we got to deliver Georgia for Stacey.
Amen.
We just got, and Warnock and the whole crew. But if Stacey wins, everybody else will win, right?
That's
and
right.
I think that the way she put her head low and sat in the trenches and been consistent, I get all your ads because I live 16 miles from the Georgia line. 16 miles.
And look,
from Thomasville, Georgia.
I know that we are all sick of getting all of the ads and emails and text messages from Act Blue and from all the Democratic donation centers, whatever. But if you see something with Stacey's name on it or something from the Georgia Project or whatever, please put 5 on it or whatever, donate, whatever, because I promise you that money is going directly towards trying to re-register voters that don't know they've been purged from the polls. Is going towards making sure that people understand which polling centers have been closed and their new polling places. Is going towards making sure that we have enough money to pay good lawyers to try and help us fight the little things that happen behind the scenes in local precincts, etc., to try and make sure that they don't do any funny shenanigans outside of Fulton County, because Georgia is more than just Atlanta, to make sure everybody gets access to the vote, you know, when it comes time, that they don't just arbitrarily decide, oh, we're not doing anything but paper ballots, you know, in Forsyth County or some nonsense like that. It's a constant gardening of making sure that everyone that is eligible to vote and wants to vote can vote, and that we don't end up after the election trying to file lawsuits because we discovered that 70,000 votes across 16 different counties were not counted, and that swung the election the other way. So put some money into Georgia so we can get Stacey elected.
Good point.
And I would just like to say on that same line, because I'm 125,000% with you. She should have won last time. We shouldn't have had to have dealt with Brian Kemp because
This
he
is
cheated.
true.
But if I could just say for a moment to Raphael Warnock and Nancy Pelosi, my name is not Kenneth. And if you keep calling me Kenneth, who don't live in my house in the emails you're sending me 7 times a day, and I've already been done told you my name ain't Kenneth, you can't cash a check from Kenneth from my house. So why don't you just put some respect on my name and call me Thomas Cunningham, because Thomas Cunningham is the one who has the monthly subscription to the DNCC. I don't know what's wrong with your databases, but I am not Kenneth.
Yeah.
You think Kenneth is 1911 Noop?
No.
You asshole. Raphael, I want you to win.
Lord Jesus.
Stacy, I'm sending you money regardless, baby, because you are not misidentifying me, but I am not Kenneth.
True that.
Get it together.
New, I see where Jermaine Taylor Sharpie asked a question. Sharon, what's your thoughts too on how is Val looking? I know we've sent some money down that way, and I'm praying for y'all, Sarah, because Val is sharp, and I would like nothing
Keep praying.
more. Yeah,
She's not sharp enough to not call me Kenneth, though. Get it together, DNCC.
She calling you Kenneth too?
All of them, because it ain't them. It's the robots at that same damn shared database. That's the problem. They just putting Nancy's name on it. Nancy girl, you in my state. You my senator. You're not my representative. Actually, Brad Sherman is. But you from my state. I'm not Kenneth.
Well, Val Deming's campaign needs a reboot on the same level of Kamala Harris's vice presidential office. So
you said that. You said that.
I would say call me Val, but she did. So I'm like,
you're gonna be able to help.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know how the negotiations go in a couple shows.
Okay. All right. We'll be waiting.
It's on them.
Yeah, I got you. They need to put you in the game.
No.
Put her in the game, coach.
Correct.
Just come correct.
Correct.
It's transactional now. I done offered all my benevolence.
And it's above me now.
Shit. I hate when you call me when shit gone awry. When I'm a proactive operative. I'm not a reactive operative.
Got you.
So I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that alone. Should get my vote though.
True.
Yes.
And one time for Founders Day next week on the 13th.
Yup.
Y'all will be, throwing up the
turnt.
Now Lucy Macbeth called me the other day. Lucy actually called me on homecoming Saturday. Okay. And I saw the robos and I said, oh, this just campaign stuff. And I had the little pre-recording and it was like, no, this Lucy, pick up the phone. And I picked up the phone and I was kind of like, what you doing? It's a Saturday. And it's FAMU homecoming. And she was just doing cold call, but she was calling herself. Right. So an average person, if I was in a good mood, they'll get to stay at $100. When you call yourself, I put some respect on it.
Gotcha.
Right.
And she got some respect. Now, like I said, that's another Georgia girl, Masara. Now, I told you I live 16 miles from the Georgia line. I'm looking for some property, Joy. So call somebody down there in Thomasville. I could add it to the number. I ain't got nobody vote for 2018. Val don't turn her ship around. I could be a Georgia resident for a cycle.
True that.
Well, that the 3 people where they actually confirmed election fraud were people who were Floridians who were voting also in their home state. So
New England, but they were voting both places.
They were. That's what I'm saying.
I've had dual residency before. I'm smart enough to know don't vote in 2 places.
That's right. One place.
One vote.
Somebody said, thank you, Yolanda. Sharon hair stay lit in the dark. All right. We said we were going to, this was our
Daryl
last
Jones sent me a text on. I got to give a, what you about to say, Tom?
No, that was our last political thing. Okay. We definitely have one more topic before
we go to the topic, I'm going to do an infomercial. Because I want to end on our topics, right? Okay. And since we talked about the insurrection, the Black Lives Matter movement, we talked about this new era of equal justice under the law and all the good things. Our good friend, the Honorable Daryl Jones,
That's
the
it.
chairman of the Leon County School Board, put up
There
a
it
challenge
is.
the other day, not knowing that
Okay.
a whole lot of people were doing challenges because we want to get a little deep into our history, right? So he
Okay.
put up that he was about to make an investment in a book and wanted to know who was willing to join him. Well, this happened to be my family's gift to each other after we did the children's version that I gave a
Mm.
shout out for during Thanksgiving. So we are starting a book club.
Okay.
And the first
Okay.
book, again, the Honorable
Oh, the
Daryl Jones is leading it with some academics and your Raggedy Sharon. And we will be posting a private chat. We will also cross post it in Steel because I know my colleagues are going to join me,
Yeah.
right? And we're going to do chapter by chapter
Let's go.
Facebook group talks as well as we're going to do Zoom. Daryl Jones, so we're going to have Zoom meetings for
okay.
the read because I know Tom is a lover of reading. I know all of you are, right?
Mhm.
So the fact that we're gonna go deep, you're not gonna all talk about, oh, that's so good, Dr. Nicole, that's good. And ain't none of us read this big giant ass book, right? So we're gonna go deep into our ancestors so we can be clear on where we've been and where we need to go now that we in our own resurrection of our movement, right? But we are commissioning a book club, and the first book is the 1619 Project,
Do you
chapter
have
by
a name for
chapter
the?
conversations.
So
Amen.
essay
Dale
essay
Jones,
by essay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dale Jones,
Yeah.
text me what the name of the group gonna be
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Do that,
before the
Daryl.
show over.
Yeah. Let's
Mm-hmm.
But
get the name of the group.
his came, ours, which was Al and I Christmas presents to each other. We each got our own book. So join. Yes, Sarah, we will be keeping you posted through Steel, the start of our book club. We will be meeting once a week, chapter by chapter, so we can all be deeply seeped in this book that has America on fire. Not just the
Well,
article about it. We're gonna read the book.
there you go.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
get it.
one
Mhm.
of the other things that America was on fire about. We're going to end on a kind of a mixed bag. It's certainly less heavy than the January 6th insurrection and the political climate of the country. And this person has made no bones about being a controversial figure. I think it's fair to say, but
Lord.
Antonio Brown, uh, pictured here shirtless because uh, he was told he was no longer a buck. Now, for the sports fans, I had a bunch of people on Sidney Poitier's internets talking about he must have CTE. It must be a mental health issue. One of my frat brothers, Jaguar Reed, said he didn't know that he had so many clinical psychiatrists and encephalogists or
Mm-hmm.
encep incelep. That's the first time that's ever happened to me that I have not been able to pronounce a difficult word. So,
Right.
but brain doctors. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't know he had so many brain doctor clinicians and psychiatric therapists on his page because everybody was shouting CTE, everybody was shouting whatever. Now, um, what we had found out was is that a well-crafted statement from his team, because I have no confidence that Antonio Brown did all 12 of them paragraphs, but in a very well articulated statement from his team, he indicated that he had a severe ankle injury and he told the coach ahead of the game that he didn't want to play, and they said you got to play, and so they doped him up like they did. I don't remember if you all remember that movie that Nick Nolte was in, way back in the '70s, where they just pump him up with that juice and they can run, but he blew out his whole knee, so he
Was
was
it
playing
North
through the
Dallas
pain.
40?
That was
North
it.
Dallas 40. That's
That's it,
it.
Joy. Mm-hmm.
Excellent pull. I wasn't sure you were gonna get that just from Nick Nolte. Good job. So he had a tough injury, and supposedly after he got the MRIs from the best ankle MRIologist in town, he had torn ligaments, he had bone fragments, he had damaged this, torn cartilage, whatever. He had all this stuff, and he told the coach that, and the coach said, "You got to play." And when he said he wasn't going to play, he said the coach cut him. He didn't quit. He cut him. And since he was cut, he took off his shirt and he went home. and gotten his very fashionable boots and was on his phone getting his Uber together and drove off. And now come to find out that he technically wasn't cut or released. He was maybe cut but not released because they were still trying to mess with him and tell him this is what you got to do. And he was like, "No, but I thought I was cut." "Oh, you mean now I'm not cut? You mean now that there are MRI things, your narrative is no longer the narrative that is going to rule the day." And that combined with Urban Meyer having to come out and admit that the Trayvon picture actually was in the no hoodies policy PowerPoint that Brother Williamson had alleged. It's just two situations where black men, in my opinion, and Antonio Brown is a cut up. He definitely is a cut up. He's done some cut up-ish things. I thought his career was over, but he's asserting that you are not going to play these games with me. And I did what I did, and it was dramatic. It was purposefully dramatic. But it's because I told you and you didn't value my health. So, in my opinion, he's Naomi Osaka-ing his situation. How it's going to turn out for the man, I don't know, because, sports be rough. But at least his side of the story is now out, and the coach has had to backtrack a little bit because he was caught up in a little bit of some lies. Chuck, I know you're probably
right. I'm like,
you're definitely the dude because you got
your
to weigh
page
in on this
was
one,
on
bro.
fire. Your
Page was lit.
Yeah, we had some folks that were very strongly against AB and very strongly in support of AB. What I'll say is this: is Tom, you said it very politely. AB is a cut. we know that he has a very checkered history at best. When they pulled his timeline, he has beaten up men, he has sexually assaulted women, he has cussed out people left, right, and up the middle. So yes, he's a cut up. But just like the old cliche that even a person who is a prostitute can be raped, a person who is a cut up can be telling the truth about certain things, even if that person is a liar or caught in a lie before. I know everybody likes
vaccination card.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's pointing to the vaccination card lie, but okay, yeah, that was wrong. But at the same time, they kept him on the team. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't telling the truth about you're going to get out there, boy, and you're going to play. And let's just call it for what it is, right? Football is arguably the most brutal, popular professional sport. I guess some people could say boxing, but I'm not sure if boxing in the modern era is nearly as popular as the NFL or even college football, dare I say. And it is a painful sport. Any reasonably intelligent person watching it can tell that. All of us who have played it, be it on the sandlot, out in your backyard, or whether you played actually for a team on any level, it hurts when you are out there. It's fun, but it hurts like hell. You leave practice and you're sore. You leave a game and you're sore. Many of us now walking around in our 50s, our knees are giving out, shoulders are hurting because of some crap that went on when we were in our teens and 20s. And so with that in mind, there are risks that you assume when you play the game. But at the same point in time, this is a different era, right? Like a lot of folks on my page were talking about the fact that, and I'll tell y'all an old cliche, many a coach has said to a player, are you hurt or are you injured? And so the difference being, if you're hurt, then quit bitching, get on out there and play, right? If you're injured, i.e. that shoulder is separated, that knee is dislocated, or that ACL is torn, then maybe we'll get you some medical help. We still might want you to go out there and see if you can give one last push, right? And so I'm saying that somewhat tongue in cheek, but it's the truth. And what's happening here is AB was sick of it. And at that point in time, what I find so interesting, especially watching people who are trying to defend the Bucks, that always kind of confuses me, especially when it's black people doing the defending. But there are quite a few black people who are taking up for massa, so to speak, in this situation, saying, well, AB's been a cut up and he's been an asshole, and yeah, they deserve it. Yeah, but no, let's stick to the issue. Bruce Arians lied on Sunday.
Right.
Claimed he did not know that AB was hurt. He claimed that none of that. And so the receipts like folks like to say, when you start dropping text messages and when you start dropping names, like I went to this orthopedic surgeon and then I went to that one, and giving their full government name. So it gives a level of credibility, which is he ain't lying, and he's making Bruce Arians and the organization look really bad, especially that one little nugget he dropped. And that, well, he didn't drop it. Like Tom said, the publicist / lawyer dropped it after hearing his side of how it went down, right? And so, but the point about they shoot us up with these painkillers that are frowned upon by the NFLPA. Trust that goes on more than the NFL lets on, which is your favorite players are out there doped up beyond recognition because they want them out there playing when they can't feel their shoulder and they can't feel their knee and all of that kind of stuff. It's a trip. And you know, a lot of people like to say, well, he's a millionaire and you can't compare it to slavery, but you can. I mean, I'm not talking about the money standpoint.
Yeah, NFL is definitely the plantation of sports.
Yeah, you don't have any control over your body. And so even though I'm no huge AB fan, I actually found myself, after initially chuckling when he was doing the jumping jacks and looking like Pookie from New Jack City as he was skipping off the sidelines. But once I learned more, I was Team AB on this. I was like, yeah, go on, run, tell it. Let us know about what Coach knew in the organization. Let's get that massive lawsuit going about how they have all of these young men out here risking their lives because they're doping them up to play the game that we love to watch.
That's right.
Now, I will say I don't follow football. And I very, very middle of the road on this because I don't know these people. But just speaking on what Daryl says about his response being sophomoric, you know, I don't truck with, you know, us having to represent the race all the time. Howsoever, I will say that, you know, because, you know, I still think that the truth is always somewhere in the middle between what some person perceives and thinks, what another person perceives and thinks. You know, receipts notwithstanding, because that does weigh in a lot. But here's my thing: if I'm known to be a whole ass all the time, then I'm not going to, you know, pull off my shirt and throw it and do some very acrobatic things walking off the field. I'm going to go the whole other route. I'm gonna put my helmet on. I am going to take 2 steps out on the field and then, my neck, my back. I'm about to act an ass. They go. I'm be screaming. I'm working a crockett. I'm looking like Calvary.
You gonna pay me injured reserve? Damn it.
Yes, and I'm gonna be screaming my reasons all the way to it. I told him I couldn't play, but I tried and he made me walk out here and do it. I'm about to act an ass, and everybody's going. I want 5 cameras on me. I'm doing interviews on the way to the hospital.
Combat pay.
Listen, I would have had one of those boots on the sideline, and I would have hobbled my ass right in front of the microphone with the Bucks logo behind me and thrown that boot up on the desk like, this is my leg.
Right.
And I would have had drawn x-rays. Just see, this is my torn ligament. I would have had x-rays from my teammate's cat, like, see?
Right.
And that would have been to me.
My bone is coming out right now. Look at this.
But you know what, though, y'all? But we're all very rational people, and we're rational right now. Let's be honest. The other day, I cussed out a boss of mine so proper, like back around 2003, 2004, because he had constantly been a habitual line stepper. And I was already lining up my stuff to start my own law practice anyway. And when I left that building, I cussed him, his mammy, and everybody else out because he had been trying me and everybody else on the staff, and he became every kind of motherfucker that I could muster out my mouth. So I'm not proud of that. I was 31, 32 years old, about the same age as AB, and you know, and I had pushed it to the point. But let's be honest, all of us have been at that point where you've been this close to telling an employer to go fuck themselves. Now, am I the only person that's ever been there? Anybody else been there? Okay.
Not the IG jump off, throwing him on blast. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Do tell.
Well, you know who's not putting him on blast is Tom Brady. Tom Brady was super circumspect. If you
But he
watch
came
that
for
little
him
thing
today.
again, oh, did he? Well, what else do you expect from Tom Brady? I'm sorry. I'm no Tom
No,
Brady
Tom
fan.
Brady. He came at Tom Brady. AB
Oh,
came for Tom
Antonio
Brady.
came at Tom Brady.
Yes.
Well, I don't know why he did that because Tom Brady wasn't. I thought Tom
we
was.
just said that he don't have the best decision making skills without a
Well, that's
hand.
true.
I was like, what
That's
did you
true.
just say, Tom?
Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I
I
thought
thought you
Joy
were
so
talking about Tom
eloquently
Brady.
made it plain.
Yeah, no, okay.
Who's this
Right.
calling
Well,
Tom Ken? That I'm laughing.
I don't.
Scholarly talk on.
Yeah, who is scholarly talk on live?
Yeah, she's
Tomkin.
got me laughing. Yeah.
Okay, so
Just before you close, Daryl
okay,
Jones
because
finally woke up
yes, we saw the critical thing.
okay,
Yes.
Critical Reading Theory Book Club. Since
Okay.
we went off on AB, put it up, Tom.
Yeah, well,
Critical
now I got to scroll all the way back up to where it is. Hold on.
959. I thought that was really cute. We will call ourselves a CRT book club.
And you get it? You see what he did there? Instead of race, it's reading.
Really?
See what he did there?
I like that.
Isn't that clever? Daryl, you must be like an executive director of schooling and things for the childrens.
But
Chairman
before
of
we
the
get out
board.
of here, I
Chairman of the board.
like to always have another little funny video or something. And so this one
Okay.
is brought to us by our friends. Well, not necessarily CDC, but it is CDC relevant. And I spent way too much time on TikTok over the holidays, and so I'm going to see if I can get this to play because I had to bring it to you from a different direction. But here we go. So bear with me as I try new things. This, and then where is it?
Are you sharing the screen?
I'm trying to. There it is. Hang on a second. Share audio and go.
Hold on, I gotta put it in.
For you.
Okay. Wait, here we go. Start over.
So we got some new guidelines for you. Okay. As a healthcare worker, when you get COVID, when I get COVID, if you get COVID, then you have to return to work. Get to return to work after 7 days instead of 10 after infection. Why? Hey, listen to what he says. You hear how well the coronavirus is changing life for all of us, and we know that times can be tough for our healthcare worker. And wait, healthcare worker? What do you mean healthcare worker? Am I the only one left? Don't be ridiculous. Our hospitals are brimming with other people right now. Are they patients? Yes. Damn, naturally. Okay, we gotta keep this moving, right, guy? Yeah. So you guys only need to isolate for 5 days instead of 10 now. I'll do that all right. Okay, but just make sure to keep that mask on. Probably won't. Okay. Yeah, a healthcare worker, you might want to watch out for that guy. Oh, he quit. Man, okay, I'll call some med schools. Hey, man. No,
Wait, this was my office.
I feel so sorry for the healthcare worker. The only one left.
Not just them, but yes, absolutely them, but not just them. So the educational system is similar. Was it Illinois that is looking at letting bus drivers workers?
Oh, did you see that video?
Yes.
Okay, you have to go on TikTok or IG. There is a hilarious video about the debate of letting bus drivers teach. And at one point, the reporter who is standing next to a bus that is covered in snow says, "But who's going to drive the buses?" And then the dude who is providing the comment, he's like, "You just now thinking about that?"
Right.
And listen, both of my kids' schedules, this is California. California is trying to take this really seriously. Both of my son's schedules got pushed back. My youngest son was supposed to start on Thursday. And then they found out that even though people had been tested, they couldn't get the results by Thursday. So then they just pushed everybody to Monday. And my other son wasn't supposed to start until next week, on next Tuesday. But he just got a positive test. So I'm clear. I'm outside of my COVID infection window, but every person in my house was hit with the vid.
Mm.
Dang.
Sorry to hear that, Nupe.
And praise the Lord that you all are all doing
We're
Yeah.
all vaccinated, and none of us had any severe symptoms. Cole didn't ever really present with symptoms at all, so that's a blessing. And none of us have been in any way incapacitated. So I think the vaccine and the boost, just
Praise God.
if you were doubting, because I was definitely in a cohort that could have had much more dire circumstances. I got to stay at a hotel and isolate for a couple of days. That was pretty good for me. Very comfortable beds in hotels.
It's real in these streets. I've learned of someone I know personally either catching COVID or recover or found out they are recovering from COVID, and I'm glad I didn't happen to go see them.
Well,
every day this week, every single day.
mm,
I just canceled a trip that I was going to take in a couple of weeks because the person I was going with got COVID. And the place that I was going to go after that is like, don't come here because we're in New York and everybody up here got COVID. And then one of my clients was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it on Monday because I don't feel good. I'm going to go get a test today. And then they sent me a text, positive. God. Mm-hmm. So like everywhere I look.
Omicron is not playing. We got complacent over the summer when rates were down and people were like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and get this. And so I was walking outside with my mask. But if I was standing outside and I needed to take a bite of a sandwich, I didn't have a problem doing that. And when Omicron came, Omicron said, I see you without that mask.
Mm-hmm.
I see you haven't washed your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Ew. That was Omicron. And everybody, it's like the Walking Dead death virus.
Yeah.
We probably all got it, but some of us are asymptomatic, and some of the asymptomatic ones are walking around here without their mask thinking, ooh, I dodged a bullet. Ooh, spreading like a sprinkler. So, y'all, we got to get over it, at least until we get to the endemic phase where you just got to go get your flu shot and your COVID shot. They already said the first case of Flurona hit the Getty Museum. And I don't know how the dude even got into the Getty because you're supposed to have a vaccination card. He ain't vaccinated at all.
Lord.
So Flurona, yeah, don't. My Flurona. Yeah, just don't get it. Don't spread it. Leave it alone. Let it go. I don't doubt it, CJ. I don't doubt it. My elder son tested negative, and 3 days later he tested positive. So it's Omicron is nothing to joke with, just like the Wu-Tang Clan. So that said, do we have anything else before I say those magic words?
No.
Okay, we go clockwise. Okay, that's how we go, so that we don't stumble. I'm Tom Cunningham.
I'm Sharon Letman Hicks.
I'm Joy Stevens.
And I'm Chuck Hobbs.
And we are Steel Sharpens Steel, or Steeleth Sharpeneth Steeleth.
Ding.